And as we've seen, Regaki covered by 2, 3, or 4 players. It doesn't matter. The Aussies now up 9-8. Back to Duisburg on CSTV after this. Well, thanks to their height, the Aussies now have the lead for the second time, thanks to their height, but also the 5th turnover by the U.S., Jude.
That's true. The U.S. definitely needs to cut down on the turnovers. We're 17 points into the game, and the U.S. has 5 turnovers. That's too many. They really need to keep possession of the disc, keep it in their own hands, and hope to get a break or 2 back so that they can reclaim the lead.
And the U.S. players with their hands on their knees, something we haven't seen much of yet today. And we are getting later and later in this game now. Whoever gets to 13 first wins, and right now the Aussies are closer with a 9-8 win. But the U.S. is getting it back as Potsy pulls it.
Well, you're right. It seems like fatigue might be starting to set in. Everybody had 2 hard games of pool play games, and the wear and tear could start to be taking a toll. The Australians are playing a little zone here, 1-3-3 zone. So far they've had good success with the zone. They've gotten 2 turnovers with their zone, so they're trying it again.
And the U.S. players had to deal with Regaki marking a lot of their handlers, but right now they're not having to deal with him, and it seems like they can see downfield a little bit better.
Well, Regaki's taking a little bit of a break. They're playing a 1-3-3 zone, so only a single marker on the thrower.
And Namkum getting it upfield to Chase, and looked like he might have had a play downfield to make, but they're waiting, and it's paying off as Jesse Witt gets 2 hands on it. The U.S. ties it back up at 9. After taking their time, the U.S. struck pretty quickly there.
They certainly did. It seems like they might have solved the zone. Matt Dowell made a great bid there on that last pass, but he came up short, and the U.S. scored a goal. They broke that zone wide open.
Jess Witt, a grad student in cognitive psychology at the University of Virginia, and she's now on her way back to the sideline to think about it.
I'm sure she's quite happy with that goal. That one, big goal there for the United States. They needed to make sure that they could beat that Australian zone. Hopefully they'll have things back on track.
And Chase wiping off the disc, wiping off his face. The rain and the sweat, they just end up melding together, don't they?
It all does come together. It's surprising he's not wearing wristbands, but you know, everybody's got their own little gear, what they like to wear, and all he needs to do right now is make sure he's got a dry disc for the pull so that he can rip it downfield.
Yeah, we saw him pick up some grass there to see which direction the wind was going in. Do Ultimate players have a lot of superstitions?
Fortunately, no, because if Ultimate players went too long without washing their clothes, it would be really unpleasant to play with them.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sarah Wentworth better do some laundry after this game, because she has been sliding along in the grass, making a lot of big plays for the Aussies so far, and her team working their way up the field. Regaki is back in. They're going to need every bit they can get out of him. This is it. So use all your energy now. And look at this, the Aussies trying to strike quickly, and Di Werman going into the corner of the end zone. Wentworth is there, and no surprise that she was on the ground when she made that grab, but it's not counting.
Girl likes to hit the ground, but unfortunately, no, that disc is going back. There was a pick called before John O's throw, so it's not even going back to Di, it's going back to the thrower before her.
Well, it was a nice play by Di, and a great play by Wentworth again, and Jonathan Holmes puts it back into action, and it looks like the Aussies are knocking on the door. A little flick toward the corner. Can she make the grab? Yeah, Jane Irving hauling it in, and it is 10-9 Australia. The Aussies, the first to double digits.
The first to double digits, and that's remarkable. Jane Irving becomes the 10th player out of the 11 on Australia's roster to catch or score a goal. They're really spreading their offense around across their whole roster. They're all doing a great job.
Dr. J bringing it down.
And she, in fact, was the fourth woman to catch a goal for Australia, so now every woman on their team has also scored a goal.
And Jude, what is the breakdown? Is there a certain number of men and a certain number of women that each team has to have?
Well, Ultimate is played 7-on-7, and the co-ed rules are that you can only ever have 4 men or 4 women on the field at one time. And the offense gets to dictate, so that if the offense puts 4 women out on the line, the defense has to match that with 4 women of their own.
So when you say that, you mean now the U.S. is going to be on offense, and so if they have 4 men, the Aussies have to do that also.
That's correct. But both of these rosters only have 4 women on them, so it seems that the typical line has 4 guys and only 3 women.
And we saw Deaver there not go after the catch, let it bounce first. Is there a reason for that?
Well, they were pulling upwind, and an upwind pull, the pull was bouncing around a little bit in the wind, and he wanted to make sure that it didn't touch him and result in a turnover for a dropped pull. So he got out of the way.
And it's paying off because the U.S. is going deep, and there is Zip, zipping past the defense to tie this thing up at 10.
We again saw the Australia zone, and we again see the United States figuring it out and beating it. The Australians transitioned out of it right at the last moment, but Zip beat him, he snuck behind the defense, and a great pass found him in the end zone for the easy goal.
A great pass that had the wind behind it, and Zip really had to use every bit of grass that was left to make that play.
It was the back corner of the end zone, but it was a well-placed disc.
And now it's the Aussies who have to once again match what the U.S. is doing, and that's keeping pace with them right now.
Well, it's 10-10. The United States needs to step up. That man right there, Chase Sparling-Beckley, needs to make something happen. He's the U.S.'s big man. He had little pregame pep talks from both Miranda Roth and Ron Kublanza, and they're trying to get him fired up to say, you got to make something happen, Chase.
Well, he helped Seattle's Sockeye win its first club championship back in '04. He checks the wind again, and here comes the pull from Chase.
Yeah, he did help Sockeye in '04. I have very vivid memories of him in our semifinal matchup.
Sorry about that, Jude.
Oh, that's all right. We'll get him this year.
The U.S. with some smothering defense. The Aussies trying to break it, going long. There's a man there, and it's the guy you were just talking about, Chase Sparling-Beckley, making the great defensive play in the end zone on one of the Dowells.
They finally did it. They stopped that huck. Matt Dowell's been scoring at will down in the end zone, and Chase stepped up huge, just got a little piece of it right before the disc would have sailed into Matt's hands, and the U.S. gets that much-needed turnover on a huck.
And off of the huck, on a defensive play that took place in the end zone, the U.S., where do they take over now?
They'll get to pick it up and walk it up to the end zone line. They could put it into play right where it landed, but that's usually only if you think you can get some surprise momentum out of that.
And now we see Eastham walking up to that goal line with Potsy bouncing right in front of him. And now the U.S. going long. Can they turn it over quickly? Oh! A lot of contact there. I don't think we even need the spirit of the game to let us know that Di Warman basically ran her over there.
Well, she is their height, and that's the thing she needs to stop. But Miranda Roth got a good line on that disc. She used her positioning really well. She kept Di behind her, and Di was forced to make contact in trying to make that block.
So Miranda, who I understand enjoys playing the recorder, does I guess the ultimate equivalent of drawing the foul, and now she lobs it up for Chase, and with the left hand, he swats it in, and the U.S. has gone up. Chase on defense, Chase on offense.
That was a great end-to-end point for Chase. He made a huge catch on that throw from